So I'd ask myself, is it possible that there's stuff that I don't know about the real world? Well, guys, I was actually scrolling through my YouTube studios, deleting comments, hateful comments, and banning people or blocking people off my channel. And while doing that, in my comfortable standard, doing this once a couple weeks when I get my anger out, I stumbled across a comment that came out 2 months ago by a guy named John Doe 627. And he commented on a video that I made called Dogman Sighting in Fresno, California. Real or fake? And he commented this: go to Avocado Lake at night. There was a video of one near Stockton watching a woman in her car. And then this other person replied to that comment on my channel by a guy named Jojo Dirtbike, said, there's a group, Cryptid 559, the scene activity at Avocado Lake. And John Doe replied, I'm aware already, lol. And then he said, oh, you know Cryptid 559? Have you met them, team? Have you met the team? John replied, Jojo Dirtbike, I wish someday I do meet him and his team so I could tag along with them. I seen a bunch of dead goats off a cliff when I was parked by a turn on up ahead of Avocado Lake. Have you seen anything weird yet? I just seen maybe a UFO in my town. It was on top of my slowly coming closer, a very bright light, like a star. But then, as I was told by my coworkers, it started to descend away from me. And when I was walking home by the train tracks at night, I felt a dread over my body, and my instincts were telling me to run. From what I heard, Cryptid 559 is from Reedley, and he says that Bigfoot and even Dogman creep in town running wild. So I question this. Now, I looked up who Cryptid 559 are, and technically I'll let you viewers decide who they are because I know who they are. I just looked them up because of these comments. But at this moment, when I actually typed the information, I actually typed in Avocado Lake, and what I got on Yahoo Answers when I typed it in of Avocado Lake, I got a lot of interesting Yahoo Answers. Avocado Lake Bigfoot, Avocado Lake fishing, camping, etc. So I typed in Bigfoot with it, and it took me to a site on October the 12th, 2017, kmph.com, which is a news network site, made a news video, which I'm about to show you people, and I actually had to stop it at 30 seconds or so. And I'm not going to show you people the video as much because I don't want to get copyrighted by it. It is TV news. But it's even crazy because 5 days later, after they released their information, 5 days later, Fox News on the 17th of October did the report of these pictures that KMPH released. And then 2 days later on the 19th, one day before the 50th anniversary of the Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot, Fox43.com released their information of the California lake. So I'm questioning, why did I not know this? Because guys, back around October the 20th, 2017, I released the 50th anniversary of the Patterson Gimlin footage. Keep that in mind, guys. The video is amateurish, and I was only 1 month into doing YouTube at the time. I was new at it, and I was pushing my marbles early into my career because I wanted to be famous like Markiplier and Jackson. I've said that a bunch of times. Like, I've always said I was... Let's just say, guys, I started myself to the top and worked myself down. That's all I can say. So, yeah, I'm really upset that I did not know about this information, and I'm really surprised. But here's something interesting. I found the information here, and I'm not going to show you viewers the full news report of it, but here's something interesting about this when looking at it closely, because this right here is the craziest part. When I clicked on it, this is what I got of a picture of a Bigfoot in the lake.
Bigfoot, notable alias, Sasquatch. Last known sighting near Avocado Lake by a local farmer.
I'm going up the road and all of a sudden these 5 and 6 bodies of whatever run past the front of my headlights on my truck.
Keith tells local paranormal expert Jeffrey Gonzalez.
So guys, this is interesting. So guys, like I said before, I've only did one information about avocado of just Fresno, California. So the information says that there's multiple eyewitnesses. So I'm not going to get into the news reports of everything. It's 3 minutes and 20 seconds long, and I don't want to get copyrighted by that. They will show us another information of another person eyewitness. It said that there were multiple eyewitnesses that were here in October at the time when the information came out about this information of the story about this Bigfoot. It said that there were multiple eyewitnesses that were 2 to 3 miles away from each other, that have never met each other before, but they've seen this exact similar thing. I don't know. And I'm going to show you viewers the Bigfoot photo again, just for reviewing, and photos of them taking pictures of footprints. But when listening to this, I was a little bit upset that this is like 1 week before the Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot. And I'm like, how the heck did I not know about this any time? Because guys, I was even paying attention to 2017 to see if there were going to be any Dogman sightings in 2017. And guys, I'm still waiting for Dogman sightings. I'm getting ready for 2027 if God can make me live longer to get famous. But yeah, looking back at this, I did not know how I not realized this. But let's watch more of this.
He thinks these bodies could be Bigfoot.
One of them, which was extremely tall,
that has
had
to
a
be
pig
amateur.
over its shoulder. And the 5 scattered. The one with the pig was running so fast it didn't see an irrigation pipe. And it tripped with the pig going flying over.
Like
This story
said,
intrigued
these are
Gonzalez,
multiple
but
eyewitnesses.
didn't surprise him. In the last 5 years, there have been 3
Yes.
Bigfoot sightings, all in the same area.
I'm not into Bigfoot
I would have never guessed in
tracks.
a million years that
Sorry.
you would have told me there's Bigfoots on frickin' Shield or Ashland Avenue, right? So I want to know what's going on. Is this for real?
Before Keith's account,
Yeah.
2 boys told their mom.
Guys, here's the problem. I think it's hard because I think the internet world, like I said, sorry for pausing the video, but guys, I think the internet world is a problem because in the internet, you don't know if you're faking a video or because the world of internet and YouTube will always play a fact of what's fake, what's real. So I think that's a problem in today's world. So I don't know what to say about this. And by the way, here's something else I will show.
They saw Bigfoot in their orchard one afternoon. A few years later, a man came forward saying he saw 5 Bigfoot in an orchard just across the street from his house. That same orchard. Paranormal investigators say the Bigfoot left behind this footprint.
What are the odds?
I don't know
of
if this is the
3
Group Squad
people,
599.
3 different families who don't know each other within a radius of 2 to 3 miles come and tell me what they witnessed, and it pretty much matches up.
Yeah. So to be honest, guys, I'm not going to show you viewers the rest of the news reports, but that's the information I'm going to show. Guys, I'm only going to show you viewers the photos. Guys, I wouldn't say this is a reaction video, but yet again, I'm just a little bit shocked that I didn't know this existed, and I'm a little bit blinded by this. I just got to know about this information because I read a comment on my channel about Avocado Lake and knowing about Fresno, California. So here's the photos, ladies and gentlemen, that are actually a little bit surprising, than to say the least, because so guys, the information they showed us on kmpf.com, and I'm going to show the full photo of the entire photo in full. So, and to be honest, I wouldn't really say there's much to these photos other than how interesting they are. So here's the interesting part about this entire information about Bigfoot, and let me just try to get into these photos as quick as I can. So the first photo you see here is technically, I don't know. So this is the first sighting of the person that took a picture near a lake. And just to zoom this in more, I ask a bunch of people about this, and this is almost like the photo of the 2002 Dogman photo where a photographer remained anonymous. I forgot what, I don't know if this was the Onaway or photo from Michigan. The photo was taken as just a I forgot what it was, but the photo depicted a creature of a dog man on two legs walking near a front porch in someone's cabin. And I think we can already tell how the photographer remained anonymous because they know it's fake, because it was shot in 2002. And when you look at the image, it has a bunch of red flags in the area. You have a bunch of roots, vegetation that are so soft and blurry, and the creature, it has this weird texture and other stuff. And I will show out that photo in the future, but mostly it was actually a composite image, meaning that it's an image put in another image where someone pasted. It's almost like photoshopping an image is a composite. They later realized it was actually the dogman that was in the photo was just a still image taken by a trailer for the 2002 movie, The Dog Show Soldiers, which is a British movie that took out in 2002. And that was a forgery. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because this is what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing a lot of vegetation of areas that are blurry to this, and I always pay attention to imageries that do have that fact, because what I want to know is what image, what camera, what phone was this guy holding the time? Was he holding on to an old phone, a camera phone or something? This was 2017. And what I see here is interesting. Now, just to zoom in decently, you do see the arm movement here. You do see an interesting amount of a leg here. So there is some movements to this as for where it is. So, and I think some people also have to understand one thing is that Bigfoot has short legs. Now for us humans have long legs, but what people are forgetting is that when you see a Bigfoot that has short statured legs that are like probably 2 feet, it's different because even when you watch a Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot, you see that the legs are short than they are. Even though it's a female Bigfoot, it has that factor. So when you see this, the picture of it is, like I said before, let's look at it one more time close up. So look at here. Like you see the leg, you see it's not that long of a leg, but I think when you look at it, if this was a monkey suit, it would be possible. But like I said before, this is a really blurred out photo. So it's hard for me to depict whether if it is or not. Like I can tell that maybe this could be a little bit of a long arm, but it is hard due to the blurriness. I would like to go to this area or even try to see the arm movements of how the person took the photo. The thing is, I'm sure this might have taken during the daytime because of all this. Now, guys, here's a second photo. The second photo was made by David Rayoga. Now, of course, guys, this was at the time during. I actually forgot. I don't know if this was during the news that was shown, but right here, when you look at this photo as close up as I'm doing right now, it's interesting because you see here that you see these arm movement right here, and it mostly I can't say much about the fingers, the head proportion, and when zooming in closely to this, like it's hard for me to tell if this thing does have fingers. Yet again, I do give credit as for trying to look at the legs, the proportion of the legs here, and try to depict if the person that doodled this was accurate of what he saw, because only the photographer that was there can tell what he saw, but it's hard for you to describe it the next day, even when you took the photo and saw what it is, because it's hard to understand. Now, I would say that this is more clear than anything else, but without these lines that guide us to it, all we could see is a blob. Now, of course, if we just get rid of these red lines, I'm sure we can tell what it is, and maybe we can see what it is. Now, I wouldn't really say much about this photo other than for what it is. And like I said, these other photos on top are the same one. They're just with different texture. But yeah, I don't know. It's really hard for me to depict. Now, of course, these are the Bigfoot prints that they took, and that was also on the news at the time. And I will give credit consuming for what these toe footprints are. And I don't know if I'm sure this blue pipeline was there at the time. I guess the Bigfoot stepped on it at the time, because why would that be there in the first place? But looking at as it is right now, the footprints and the toes are, I wouldn't say that they're too good to be a Bigfoot, but yet again, I would say it's a possibility. But then when you get to this other photo, this one is a little bit interesting. Now, this is the third and final photo. Looking at this one does picture a different story. Now, assuming this foot to be a good big size, even for an average man's foot that's on it, this footprint, I can describe this one being as a footprint weighing at least probably a creature known as 700 pounds. At that size, 700 pounds. So by conclusion of this thing, if our calculations are correct, and this wasn't just someone that knew how to create a big footprint and stomped it on the mud, it could be a legit Bigfoot cast. I'm just saying, it could be. Like I said before, guys, you look at the toes, and I wouldn't say they're the best toes, but they are queer to look at. Am I saying they're a hoax? Well, that's up to God if he thinks it is. Only God knows. The last two images, just like this one right here, taken by this person, as said before, even though, like I said before, I'm not a fan of cast footprints because of this, because sometimes the foots won't be cast perfectly due to this shape here. But with everything else about this, it is hard to tell. But when you see the big toes, it does play an interesting fact to what you're looking at here. So by a point, this isn't the best footprint, but yet again, there is something to it. But yeah, like this one right here, this last photo does play an interesting fact, as what we're looking at is more of something that's more of a creature that might be really heavy. Because if this thing stomped on the mud that heavy, this has to be the heaviest primate you've seen. Even bigger, because if you had to find a 500-pound person like Andre the Giant to step on his foot of mud, can you tell how much pressure you have to step on that mud just to get a footprint on? So that's what makes this one really interesting. Due to size comparison, I think when looking at this one, because look at the hand. Like the hand print here is different, assuming a size for an average adult man's hand like this. Surprisingly how it's in the shape of this. But depending on how long the foot is from toe to the calf of the ankle and the toe print is the most important thing. So I don't think it matters if the hand is wider than the foot from pinky to thumb, but yet again, it's pretty interesting when looking at this.